Hey, wait a minute, let me just... I had to stop the camera because my battery went dead, so we had to come over here and plug in so she can finish her testimony on what's going on with her and her son. Go ahead, ma'am.
After they arrested him and brought him down to the JAG Center, they gave me a call and told me that he had enough points to stay in JDC.
And that's his first offense?
Yes.
And it was cutting a screen?
Yes. And they charged him with armed burglary, which they later dropped down to a misdemeanor of criminal mischief.
Okay.
And in doing so...
How long was he in JDC for?
He was there overnight, and then they put him on home detention, and they said that he can be out if I'm present. Well, Tarpon Springs police saw him out and didn't see me. I was in the house. And so they arrested him and brought him back down for violating his for violating his home detention.
Now you're saying prior to this being put on Risperdal, was that it? No, not
Prozac.
Prozac. Prior to him being put on Prozac, you had no problems with him?
No problems at all. I mean, even though all of this is still going on, he still maintained straight A's. They've put him in and out of Calvin Huntsinger, which I didn't agree with because he was not on his proper grade level. They were teaching him, you know, stuff that was for first and second and third graders when, you know, he's been tested for gifted. He's qualified for the gifted program, but they said that because his behavior that he couldn't go. But with coming down here all the time, I did let them know that he doesn't have transportation and that I am supposed to be, you know, at home due to health issues.
You're talking about coming down here all the time. You're talking about coming down to the courthouse.
To the courthouse. We've been here probably 5 times now, and they keep saying, well, they said that he needed to have a competency test. And then after that was done, he had another court hearing. Then they said, well, he needs to have a behavior management test with Dr. Jackie upstairs on the 3rd floor. After that, then we came back for his court date, and they said, oh, we have to postpone it until today. Well, we get here today, we're there 5 minutes, and they say, you have to come back November 4th at 11. And today, you know, my aunt was able to drop me off, and, you know, we've been out here waiting now for a couple of hours for a ride back home. And, you know, I just want this over with. You know, if he's going to do community service or whatever.
The Baker acting doesn't make sense. I mean, whose idea was it to Baker act him?
Initially, it was his therapist.
From Directions?
From Directions. Jennifer
And then after they Baker acted him, what'd they do to him then?
Then he was put on the Prozac. And then after the Prozac, that was when he started having the
And you said when he was on the Prozac, you could see a big difference in his personality? And
oh yeah, 1 minute he would be fine, and the next minute he'd be crying or angry.
Don't they say that Prozac makes people suicidal?
Yes, and he did say that he wanted to kill himself once. And
that's why I was on the Prozac.
While on the Prozac.
Yeah.
And so when he was...
I mean, wasn't there something about that 7-year-old kid who committed suicide on Prozac?
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead, ma'am.
And, you know, he had a rope. He wanted to kill himself. He tied it around his neck. He just didn't have anywhere sturdy enough to tie it to. So
unbelievable.
I was completely adamant that they were taking him off of Prozac, and they, after I said that he could no longer be on Prozac, they let him, an 11-year-old child, decide what medication he was going to be on, and they let him sign for it. My signature was not there.
As a mother?
Yes.
What happened? What happened was it also, you told me, when they allowed him to sign himself out of on the Baker acting. What was that you told me about?
After the 72 hours were over on the Baker Act, they let him sign himself in involuntary. Not involuntary, but he was
right.
voluntary. And I was upset about it because I'm his mother.
Right.
I'm the only one that can make that decision, and they let him sign the paperwork.
And he was how old at that time?
11.
Unbelievable. So where's it at now? I mean, is he still keeping his grades up in school?
Yes, he's still keeping his grades up. The only days he's missing is when he has to come down here, and has to come.
And so what? He's been charged.
Jackie.
What has his charges brought him down to? What is he charged with now?
Criminal mischief.
Criminal mischief.
And
Okay.
we keep getting more and more court dates, and I asked them today if on November 4th will that be the end of it, and they said the way it looks that it'll be done and over with on November 4th.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, ma'am, it's just unbelievable what's going on. It's just. Did you explain to them people? Did you explain to them about him being on the Prozac and how all this stuff affected him?
I explained it to him, but the judge told me he had other cases. When I was trying to get into his full history, which would have taken maybe 5 minutes. But the judge said he had other cases and would not hear what was going on.
Did you try to explain to the case managers or anything like that?
And I have asked them to take him off of Prozac. He was off of all medications for a couple of weeks. Tarpon Police also said that the Prozac is what's making him have to come out to the house because he's being so irrational with climbing on the roof and everything else. But his therapist didn't agree. She said no, that he just doesn't want to listen was the reason he was doing those
Does he
things.
listen?
Yes, he listens.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sitting around the boy.
My big
I mean,
helper.
there he is sitting right there.